Over my entire poker career, I have never had a losing year using just 5 simple strategies. If you master them, you will instantly level up and start seeing results at the poker table. So in this video, I'm going to break each one of them down so you can start winning fast. One of the first strategies is going to be something that people struggle to implement when they're playing poker. I see a lot of weaker players just not doing it enough. The strategy is going to be learning when, why, and how to 3-bet at the poker table. I'm going to be showing some real life examples, and the first one is going to be when I get dealt ace queen suited in small blind position. Starting off is going to fold around to my opponent in hijack. They are going to be finding a 6x open here, making it $30. Opponent to their direct left is going to be putting the call, and it is going to make its way around to me in small blind. And I want to make a quick note here. When people at lower stakes open to 6x, this person has not studied poker too much, because there is not a time you should be ever opening 6x the blind. So automatically I will be able to tag this person as a weaker player. But now that I am here in small blind with ace queen suited, I would see a lot of people just put in a call here because it's a high equity hand. They want to see a flop, but there is a much better option that we can do here. We're going to be putting in a 3-bet, specifically a 3-bet squeeze, because we have an extra opponent in the pot who put in a cold call. And I'm going to be re-raising it up all the way to $135. It is going to fold all the way back around to my opponent. And before we see what happens, I'm going to give some quick advantages of 3-betting. People just do not 3-bet enough in poker. It tends to be one of the weakest points that I see in all of my students when I start coaching them. They unfortunately just don't do it enough, and when they do, they only have the strongest hands possible in their range. And now because of that, 3-bets are going to be viewed as super strong by your opponents. And now when hijack has the decision to make here, they are going to be folding, and cutoff is going to fold right behind them. And this is another advantage of putting in a 3-bet. You can take down the pot pre-flop versus one or maybe multiple opponents. And we didn't even have to pay any rake. I am going to scoop $30 from 2 of the villains at the table, plus the big blind, putting my winnings for the hand at $65. That is a massive pot to win with just putting in a nice 3-bet squeeze pre-flop. We're going to have a similar situation here in the next hand when I get dealt ace jack suited. Once again, I'm going to be in small blind. It's going to fold to my opponent in hijack. They are going to be opening for $15. Cutoff is going to be putting in the call. And now it's going to be my turn to act here. Same situation. I know ace jack suited is a super strong hand, and of course we want to at least see some cards come out on the flop. But why wait to the flop if my opponent can sometimes be opening weaker hands here? We can take it down pre-flop, and our opponents have to respect our 3-betting range here. They are not just going to call you light, so we can get a sense of what hands they're going to have. And last but not least, you do not want to play hands out of position. If I did just call small blind, we would be out of position to both hijack and cut off. And if there were more people in the pot, we're out of position to everyone at the table. We don't want that. So once again here, I am going to be putting in the 3-bet squeeze, and I'm going to be bumping it up all the way to $120. It's going to fold back to my opponent in hijack. They are going to be laying it down, and cutoff is going to be laying it down as well. It's a really good spot here. This time I managed to scoop $35, rake-free money, easy game. And if you're learning a lot so far and want to continue learning, make sure you check out my free weekly newsletter, where I give even more free strategies and tips to improve your poker game. I know I like winning, and I bet you do too, so make sure you click the link in the top right corner or check the pinned comment in this video in order to join. Now, instead of being out of position, we're going to have a little bit of a different spot when I get dealt ace-8 suited on the button. Lady in cutoff, and she's going to be opening 4x, making it $20 to go. And yes, most players in this spot are just going to flat the ace-8 suited, but I am not going to be doing that. We're going to go for the 3-bet again, and I'm going to be re-raising it up all the way to $60. And it's going to fold all the way back around to my opponent. But this time, we are not going to get the free money pre-flop. She is going to be putting in the call. And just a quick note before we go on. When you do put in 3 bets and you have aggressive players behind you, it does prevent them from putting the pressure on you. You become the aggressor. This is a perfect spot when you just have that person to your left who has just been 3-betting you the entire night. You feel like they've been doing it light. Well, they can't just put in a code 4-bet, right, if you're the one putting in a 3-bet. Keep in mind, people will 3-bet you light, but they're not going to code 4-bet you that light, especially at lower stakes. It just doesn't happen. So this is another advantage that we can take by putting in the 3-bet ourselves. So now let's go to the flop, and it's going to come 10 deuce ace 2 spades. And very good flop for us. We have top pair, weak kicker. My opponent is going to check. And sometimes here, we can just put in a C-bet. And if our opponent has nothing, we are going to take down this pot that's over $120 just by putting in a little bit of money. It happens very often because opponents tend to call hands in 3-bet pots that they should never be here with. What do you think they're going to do when they show up with 9-8 offsuit? Yes, 9-8 offsuit. I've seen it before. Or King 8 of hearts, Queen 9 of hearts, Queen 9 of diamonds. And we all know the famous pocket pairs that people love to call with, right? What if she has pocket 4s, pocket 6s, pocket 7s? She's not going to be able to continue with these hands. And if she does, and we have top pair, that's great. We're getting her to put in the money bad, right? Because she's only going to be drawing live to 2 outs. So we're going to be putting in a C-bet here. And it doesn't have to be a big one in this spot. I'm just going to be betting $30. And after a couple of seconds, she is going to be putting in the call. We go to the turn, and it's going to come to 5 of diamonds. My opponent is going to check. And with putting in that 3-bet in position, we are always going to be last to act, and we have the opportunity to pot control. So in this exact scenario, I'm going to be doing just that. I want to see a river. I'm going to be checking back. We go to it, and it's going to come the ace of spades. At first, it looks like a rough river, obviously because the front end flush draw did complete. But we do now have trip aces, and it's going to be even less likely our opponent has an ace since there's only 4 in the deck, right? She is going to be checking. So this is just going to be a clear bet on the river. Thinking about sizing is going to be a pretty massive one, a little bit over 66%. I'm going to be putting out a wager of $150. After a little bit, she's going to be putting in a call. I turn over my hand, let her know I have trip aces. And she's going to fold face up and show pocket queens. So look at that right there. By putting in a 3-bet, I'm getting a hand like pocket queens to call that didn't even decide to go for a 4-bet here. And they're playing it out of position. I'm the aggressor. I hit my ace, and we just get to make so much money off of them. So make sure you turn up your 3-bet aggression in your games. The next strategy is going to be such a simple one, but it is one of the easiest ways to win more in poker. You need to only play good hands. Yes, just play good hands. I cannot emphasize that more at the table because I see people play hands that they should never have in so many situations. You want to make sure you're playing a lot of pocket pairs, strong Broadway hands, ace-x suited hands, and also some suited connectors in some cases because they are very easy hands to play when you get post flop. And so now we're going to see somebody show up with a hand that they should never have when I am going to be playing a good hand, pocket 8s, in hijack position. And it's going to fold to my opponent in low jack. They are going to be going for the limp here. And I've discussed previously how much I hate limps. So you already know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be raising it up myself, and we're going to be making it $25 to go. I really like using the 5x sizing when I'm facing one limp at the table. Even with making it $25, villain to my left and cutoff is going to call. Button calls. Small blind does lay it down. Big blind calls. And the original limper getting such amazing odds. Of course, they are going to be coming along as well. So there's going to be 5 of us, and we're going to go to a flop of 8 king 6, 2 diamonds. This is a really good spot to be in, and this is why you should be playing pocket pairs. A set is by far the easiest hand to play in poker, and we are only going to be behind 2 pocket kings, which nobody is ever going to have in this situation, because pocket kings, if you're aware of ranges, are going to be putting in a 3-bet against us when we did make that raise pre. Big blind's going to check. Low jack's going to check. I am going to put out a wager. Multiple sizes that you can use here. This time, I am going to be going for the smaller one, just making it $40 to go. Cutoff is going to be laying it down. Button puts in the call. Big blind is going to be folding. And the original limper is going to be calling. So we're 3-handed now going to the turn, and it's going to come to 3 of diamonds. Of course, not the turn we want to see, but it's okay. We have a set. Low jack is going to be first to act, and they are not checking. They are getting out of line, putting in a donk here. So they're going to be leading out with a bet, just making it $75, which is going to be about 33% of the pot. And it's not the biggest bet here. There is a problem though, because I have somebody on the button directly behind me, and they could have some single X diamonds left in their range, such as ace queen offsuit with the ace of diamonds, ace jack offsuit, ace 10 offsuit with the ace of diamonds. So with that reasoning, and my opponent in low jack being short stacked, I am going to be putting in a raise here. Yes, this is a spot that you can raise. You can also call, but there is nothing wrong with putting in a raise, ladies and gentlemen. And that may be surprising because there is a flush on board. But no, that is not stopping me from playing this hand. So I will be raising, and I will be making it $150. Notice that my sizing is not going to be a big one. I pretty much just clicked it back. Villain on the button seeing this is going to be laying down their cards. And when it gets around to the person who lent pre, they're going to be going all in for a total of 300. I snap call, and we're going to go to the river, and it comes the 3 of hearts. They let me know that they have a flush, and of course I let them know that I have a boat. So it's a really good river for me here to hit that full house. Yes, I was behind on the turn, but that is not the main point I want you to take away from this hand. The main thing to focus on is, why does my opponent have Jack 2 suited? What did we talk about in the beginning? Only play good hands. Yes, they made a flush, and yes, I made the full house on river to have a better hand, but they should have never, ever been in this hand. When you play bad hands, you put yourself into very bad situations, and when they happen, you're going to feel as if you are the unlucky one. You can't be unlucky if you're playing a hand that you should never have. And next good hand we're going to have is Ace King offsuit in under the gun position. Yes, Ace King offsuit is a good hand. Honestly, it's a great hand as long as you know how to navigate and play it correctly. I am going to be finding an open here, of course. I make it $15. It folds to my opponent in hijack, who has been doing a lot of cold calls. They're going to be coming along. Folds all the way around to small blind. They decide to call 2, and big blind is going to be laying it down. So we're going to be going 3 ways to a flop of King 8-4, 2 hearts. I'm going to have top pair, top kicker, with playing a very good hand. Also, look at both of my opponent's stacks. They are playing very short, so it's going to be very easy for me to get the money in with top pair, top kicker, having no regrets. Small blind is going to start out with a check. And this time around, I am not going to be going for the C bet as I did with pocket eights. I am going to be checking my option. Hijack is going to be putting that stab in position, making it $35. Small blind after a little bit is going to be putting in a check raise, bumping it up to $70. And now looking at both the stacks here, Mr. Cold Call only has $100 left behind. Small blind only has $210. Putting in a call here would be the worst option ever. We cannot let hijack see a free turn, let alone let small blind see a free turn. So it's going to be a very good and perfect time to have an Aunt Jemima moment. I am all in on the flop, putting in a 3-bet check raise, I guess. I mean, it's not really often that this ever happens in poker. Mr. Cold Call is going to be laying it down. Small blind after a little bit is going to be coming along with the call though. We are going to be running it 2 times. They are showing up with 8-5 suited. What did I say before? Only play good hands, ladies and gentlemen. Why do you have 8-5 suited flat in the small blind here? And as we go to the run out, the first one is going to come clean. So we are guaranteed half the pot. And the second run out has a little bit of worry on the turn, but the river is going to be a brick and we are going to be locking it up with ace king offsuit, a very good hand winning against a crappy hand. And this is going to lead me to strategy 3, a mistake that my opponent in small blind made. Stop calling bad hands in small blind when you're going to be out of position. It is not the spot you want to be in poker. You're going to get yourself into a lot of trouble. I've seen so many people call hands like 8-5 suited, king 3 suited, queen 7 suited, 9-7 suited, jack 8 suited. These hands look pretty pre-flop, but once you get post-flop, you are going to be running into a lot of trouble. So you do want to make sure you call really good hands here, or maybe put in 3 bets, as I said in the beginning of this video, to prevent yourself from playing a bad pot out of position. And keep in mind, at the poker tables, winners never, ever flat small blind with weaker hold-ins. And last but not least, getting bored at the poker table is not a reason to play bad hands. Just don't do it, be patient, and just wait for that right hand to play. And if you want to continue learning how to win, you can do just that by signing up to my free weekly newsletter where I share the best strategies to make the most money in poker. You can join by clicking the link in the top right corner or by clicking my pinned comment on this video. Strategy number 4 is going to be opposite of strategy number 3 where we talked about small blind. It is setting you up to play hands from the positions at the poker table where you are going to make the most money. And do you know where those 2 positions are? It's going to be cutoff and it's going to be the button. We are able to make a lot more money being in position than out of position at the table. So we're going to have jack 9 suited and we're going to be in cutoff position. Opponent and under the gun is going to be finding a 3x open here, making it $15. It does fold to low jack. They are going to be putting in a call, makes its way around to me and cut off. And if you notice by looking at the table layout, by flat in here, I am going to be in position majority of the time with a high equity hand such as jack 9 suited. This would also be a perfect spot to play hands such as jack 10 suited, queen jack suited, queen 10 suited, ace 5 suited, because as long as button doesn't call, we will have position, and even if button does call, we will at least be acting after under the gun and low jack on every street. This time, button is going to be put it in the call though. Everybody else is going to fold. So there's going to be 4 of us, and we're going to a flop of ace 5-7, 2 spades, decent flop for jack 9 suited. We're going to be drawing to the 3rd nuts with the jack high flush. And also we do have some backdoor equity, 2 straights if a 6 or an 8 comes out. Under the gun is going to be finding a c bet here. putting out a bet of $30. After a couple of seconds, low jack's going to be putting in a call. And what a beautiful spot for me. I am going to be calling, and then immediately button is going to be laying it down. I am going to be in position to my opponent in the second most profitable position in poker. So it's three of us going to the turn, and it's going to come to 8 of clubs. Now we even have more equity with the double gutter straight. Under the gun is still going to be betting here. They do put out a small wager again though, just making it $50. The other villain is going to be putting in a call. And what a beautiful spot for me here. When I do put in a call, I close the action. I don't have to worry about somebody behind me putting in a random check raise. We get to realize our massive equity we have here with Jack 9 suited. And we're going to go to the river, and it comes my lady, the Queen of Spades. So now we're going to have the second nuts here. Under the gun does check. Low jack is going to be firing out a bet here. So notice under the gun is scared of the flush, but low jack is not. And little do they know, they are betting into me when I already have a flush. Just another advantage of being in position. Your hand can be so disguised that nobody knows what you have. And they do fire out a bet of $125. We do have a total of $405 behind. We want to make sure we maximize the value with our hand here. For them to put out a bet here, it means they have some sort of hand that may be capable of calling our raise on the river. So in this spot, we're going to be going for it. It's going to be an Aunt Jemima moment. I am all in on the river. Under the gun is going to be laying it down. And low jack does think about it for a little bit. But they are going to be folding. Showing one card, and it's going to be an ace. So it looks like they had at least one pair. But whatever their other card was, it's not strong enough to put in a call here. But just notice how easy it was to play this hand, ladies and gentlemen. I really did not do anything. All I did was all pre-flop, all the bet on the flop, trying to hit my hand, all the small bet on the turn, trying to hit my hand, hit the hand on the river. They keep betting, and we just get to take down a massive pot, even though we didn't get called. So make sure you start playing more hands from cutoff position. Instead of a flattened situation here, we are going to be raising first in. It does fold to us on the button. We have Queen 10 suited. I am going to be raising, making it $15 to go. Those are my opponent in big blind. They are going to be putting in a call. We're going to go heads up to a flop of 6-9-7, 2 clubs. We do have one good overcard to the board, being the queen, and some backdoor flush and straight draw equity. My opponent is going to check, and this is why button is the most profitable position to be in poker. I am getting to control all of the action here. We're going to be aggressive on the flop. I'm going to be firing out a C bet, making it $20. Sometimes you can just take down the pot here due to the massive bet we're putting in. But this time, my opponent is going to be coming along with the call. We go to the turn, and it's going to come to 6 of spades. Villain is going to check. And with it not being the best turn here, I want to see if I can somehow hit a queen on a river. Maybe hit an 8 for a straight. I am in position, and I am last to act. I get to check back and realize my equity for free. This is a bit different than last hand where we had to call the aggression that was coming out of position. So let's see a free card. We're going to go to it, and it comes the 8 of spades, giving us the 4 card straight on this board. And after a couple of seconds, my opponent is going to be putting in a bet. Once again, they are doing the betting for me. They fire out a wager of $50. This is going to be about 66% of the pot. My opponent is saying they have some sort of strong hand here, right? But that's perfect. When we have the straight, it's going to be the same situation as last hand, where I'm going to be putting in that raise in position, and it's going to be a massive one. I'm going to be raising it all the way up to $175. My opponent does go into the tank for a little bit, but after 10 to 15 seconds, they elect to put in a call. I let them know I have a straight, and they are going to be mucking their cards. Once again, notice how easy it was to play on the button and how much money we were able to make by hitting our hand. So I really want you to play more hands from the button and cut off. Try your best to perfect your craft from learning how to play multiple situations from these two positions. The next strategy is going to be a simple one once again. People tend to do the opposite of this so much, and I see it all the time in poker. Do you know what it is? Please, 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 please stop slow playing your hands. Slow playing doesn't make any sense at lower stakes. You want to stop trapping and start putting more money into the pot so you can get paid. People at lower stakes just call way too wide and show up with so many bad hands that we can get paid from. And we're going to see an example of this when I get dealt Jack 6 suited in big blind position. The blinds are going to be 5-10 in this situation. It's going to fold to my opponent on the button. They make it $30 to go. And Jack 6 suited, very good hand in big blind. We're going to defend. I put in a call. We're going to go heads up to a flop of Jack 4-5 rainbow. So we have top here, weak kicker. I'm going to start out with a check. Villain is going to be putting in a C bet. It's going to be a little bit less than a pot bet. They make it $50 to go and not going anywhere with Jack 6 suited here, right? Cannot just start folding top here even when somebody bets big in this situation. I'm going to be putting in a call. We go to the turn and it's going to come to 6 of hearts. The backdoor flush draw with hearts are now there. I'm going to be checking again, of course. And my opponent is still going to be firing another massive bet. Almost pot again, making it $150. Now in this spot here, sometimes people would think, oh no, let me just put in a call. I'm scared if they might have 7-8. Or maybe they have pocket 4s, pocket 5s. But instead of always thinking about hands you lose to, how about we start thinking about hands that we beat? Villain can still have a hand here such as Ace Jack, Queen Jack, King Jack. They can even have the famous Jack 4 here because people love to play that hand ever since that allegation, right? Which would be a best case scenario having 2 pair over 2 pair. So I am not going to be slow playing. I want to get the money in now as quickly as possible. Yes, once in a while, you are going to lose to a better hand or be behind. But the river can still come pairing the Jack or the 6 and you hit a full house, right? So you may not be drawing dead, but they may be. So because of all of those reasons, I'm going to be putting in that check raise here. We do not want our opponent to see a river for free, especially if maybe they have a flush draw as well. They will call these hands. So we're going to be bumping it up here, making it $500 to go. And after a couple of seconds, my opponent announces they're going to be all in for $1,200. A 3-bet here on the turn with me check raising is extremely strong. But I do have top 2 pair, so we're not going to be going anywhere. I know it's a big bet, and this is 5-10, but it's still lower stakes. So I will be putting in a call. My opponent is going to turn over 6-4 suited. Now keep this in mind, ladies and gentlemen. They put in an almost pot-sized bet on the flop with 3rd pair, an almost pot-sized bet on the turn with 2 pair, which I don't fault them for that, by the way. But then I check raise and then they 3-bet jam bottom 2 pair pretty much. Think about their thought process. Why are they doing this? It is an extremely bad play. So by me not slow playing my hand, I get them to do something ridiculous with a worse hand. And this is the benefit of just trying your best to get the money in. People will make a lot of mistakes, and I'm happy they made it. They are only drawing live 2 of 4. We're going to go to the river and it comes the 8 of hearts. We're going to scoop a $2,500 pot, making almost $1,300 in his hand. Almost a buy-in and a half at 510. Keep in mind, if I just put in that call on the turn for $150 because I was scared, do you ever think your opponent is going to bet 6-4 suited there? Of course not. They're going to check back. If there's one thing that people do really well at in poker is checking back when the board runs out bad. So by not slow playing, I managed to win almost an extra $1,000 with that check raise on the turn. So if you want to get paid, stop slow playing. Now we're going to have pocket aces in low jack position. Here I'm going to be opening $50. We are playing 510 with the $20 straddle on. Keep in mind, you do not want to start limping aces here. Do not do that. Let's raise it up. Hopefully somebody 3-bets or something crazy happens, because that's how we're going to make the most money possible. My opponent to my direct left is going to be putting in a 3-bet, and they're going to be raising it up to $150. It does fold back around to me, and look at that. I got exactly what I wanted. If I just limped aces here and opponent in hijack ISO'd me and then I started limp raising, it would just look so strong. Now we're in a different situation where I'm going to be putting in a 4-bet. Yes, calling here would be disastrous, of course, right? So I will 4-bet and I'm going to be making it $470 to go. So we're not slow playing aces. My opponent is thinking about it for 10, 15 seconds maybe, and they are going to be putting in a 5-bet. They're going to be bumping it up all the way to $1,600. And what a crazy spot here, playing with $4,000. We are 200 straddles deep here with them putting in such a massive 5-bet. I'm not just going to be calling here. You already know what time it is. It's going to be an Aunt Jemima moment. I am all in immediately with my aces. My opponent is going to snap call. They are going to turn over pocket kings. We do agree to run it twice. And as we go straight to the run out, the first one does give me a set of aces. But clubs on the board. He has the king of clubs. Doesn't hit it. We go to the second one. Flop is clean. Turn comes the queen of diamonds. And they miss their 4-card flush again. And we managed to scoop an $8,000 pot. So stop getting cute, limping aces. Don't slow play. It's just not worth it. But something that is are the strategies in this next video that's going to help you win even more money at the poker tables.